Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone. My name is Vida, and this is Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast, a podcast where we discuss current news and developments happening in the cricket world with a special focus on Sri Lanka cricket. And I'm joined by my co-host Sohan. How are you going, Bora?
Very good, Vida. Last week, we launched our first episode across the platforms. A big thank you to all the listeners out there. For whoever has missed out, please look us up online and give us a listen. I'm excited to be co-hosting this episode with Vida. We want to cover the recently announced changes to the domestic setup in Sri Lanka, share our thoughts and views on it. Hopefully break down any barriers or clarification that's needed with regards to that.
Yeah, Bora. So it's Father's Day here in Australia as we record this on a Sunday, the 5th of September. And I'm wishing all the cool dads out there a happy Father's Day, and to you, Bora, as well. Hope you got spoiled by your girls at home.
Yeah, thank you, Vida. Likewise, wish you happy Father's Day. Good outing today. Got looked after a lot by the kids and my wife, so pretty good. Few things to cover before we get into the topic of the domestic structure. Cricket's been a lot of cricket happening around the world. In Sri Lanka, we've got the South African series happening as we speak. The series is tied at 1-1 each. So lots to play for going into the last game. So far, it's been the batsmen standing up. You got Avishka from the Sri Lankan setup, Malan setting the tone up at the top of the order. We've seen SriLanka and Avishka share a good partnership. SriLanka's come back with back-to-back 50s. So it's turning out to be a good game out there. I think we know it wasn't going to be an easy series for us, but it's good to see that we are competing. So good luck to the boys. Hopefully they'll finish on top by the end of the week.
Yeah, so by the time this episode goes on air, we'll know what the result is. But it was a close game. The first game was a very close game. And remember, Bora, even in the Indian series, we had few close games, but we couldn't finish it. But it was good to see our boys. They made sure that they fought till the last over, and they managed to win the game. So that was really good. That's what we wanted, because for the last few series, we were not able to win the first game of the series. I mean, that set the tone for the series, and whatever follows after that, it gets easier after that if you can get the first game under your belt.
Yeah, big kick. We got the first game up, and one of our guys scored 100. That's been a rare occurrence in the past, so it's good to see. Vida, what are your thoughts? I mean, Avishka's been setting the tone at the top, but Charit SriLanka seems to be coming through the middle and seems to be playing the finishing role towards the back end. He seems to be batting through the innings.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be having a good chemistry between them. It reminds me of some of the great partners of Sri Lanka batting, like Mahela Sangha, even going back to Sanath and Marwan. They seem to have a bit of understanding between them. When you look at them,
sorry, I didn't want to jump in, but I was too excited to talk about the young batsmen batting together. They've been playing a lot of cricket together, is what I've seen. I've seen that they're playing for SSC together as we speak in the domestic setup.
Yeah.
Being
under 19s together.
Yeah,
they came up the ranks.
That's good to see. I think a lot of the players who played together do have that trust in each other, or they just know, they just have a good feeling when they're out there together. We've had, so many, like Aravind Arjuna was a scenario,
Yeah.
Sanat Kalu, Sangakkara Mahela. More recently, can't think of many recent, but it's hopefully these guys will be the next in line to build on that partnership. So
yeah, I mean, you can see SriLanka had a calming influence on Avishka. They seem to be, talk after every over in the middle, and Avishka, I think he's a very explosive batsman, but he held himself back a little bit, and I think there was a bit of that bit of credit should go to SriLanka as well, because I think he seemed to be talking to him and make sure he's there.
Yeah, I mean, we've read in the media, they've talked about fitness, so it's good to see there's a reflection on there is a return on a focus on fitness. I know it's been on the wrong side of the lines in terms of fitness, having the pressure to meet fitness standards. It's now good, some of the players coming out, value what are the changes they've done. I mean, Bhanuka previously has been talking about the effects of being more fit. Avishka, I've seen, is reflective of that. So it's good that there seems to be the culture shift towards saying, okay, it's not a bad thing to be fit. I'm sure, I mean, being fit just helps you up your game. It's not going to make you bad at what you're doing. If at all, it'll just help you to go maybe that 5 to 10% extra, So it's good that people are thankful for that change that they're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, how good they look for us. They're very good in the field. You can see them diving around, and you can see them. They're fit, so that's very good to see. That's something we didn't see like maybe through 2-3 years back. So Mickey Arthur's regime has worked. So now you can see.
Gotta give him a bit of credit. I know there's a lot of, I mean, he's not a fan. Wasn't a fan some time back, but got to give him credit. He's got a hard job on his plate. So it's small steps, and if we are not performing well, if we don't have the talent, at least let's make it a strong team who are fit and who learn as we go along. Maybe is what he's been thinking about and structuring his coaching around. So at least we see a bit of it coming through.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about the second game, which was a rain-affected one, South African, they won the toss and batted, and I think the key at Premadasa is winning the toss. That's like the X factor. But
the massive factor. I mean, with South Africa, one thing I thought, it's rain affected, so that means South Africa are gonna struggle. They don't read the Duckworth-Lewis pretty well. So I was thinking, here we go, good chance for us to go 2-0 up. But then, like I said, they won the toss, and the X factor, the toss factor at the Kettarama batting first. We couldn't keep up with it. I think when you look at the records, no one's chased 300 or above, and South Africa's score was 300 if it was a 50-over game. So chances were pretty. We wouldn't have made it by the looks if going by the records.
Yeah, I mean, those stats, I mean, you don't think about it, but once you get the 300 and you look at the historical facts, you're like, oh, this is going to be tough. And everything has to go your way to win a game. And plus, you have to think about Duckworth-Lewis as well. So it's a bit of a, So, but, this team is a young team. So we had a very good win in the first game, but you can't expect them to win every game. So that's something you have to understand. You have to give these boys a little bit of time, to get things right. And once they get comfortable with their role, I think they'll be very good, because they're fit, and you can see they have the hunger to win. I mean, after the second game, you can see when Chamika got out, you can see I haven't seen that boys sitting there, and you can see they're disappointed. They were like, oh, You don't see that. I haven't seen that for a long time. So that is a good thing to see. They have the hunger to win.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good. I think we've seen is positive coming out from there. Again, home dominance. Talking more about cricket going around, Bangladesh seems to be dishing it out to whoever travels out there. They are not making it easy. It was similar to Sri Lanka. I mean, we talk about the glory days of Sri Lanka. Traveling to series in Sri Lanka was really tough. Bangladesh is just pretty much replicating that. They've got the big four in their squad, and New Zealand's the current team out there. They lost the 2 games that they've played, so they're making it tough for people visiting out there. England, India turning out to be another cracker of a series. As we speak, they're playing in Surrey. I think it's a 4th day. India ahead. Kohli pushing for his elusive 100. Hopefully he gets it, but it's setting up for an Indian win. India's got. If it'll be 80%, 90% of an Indian win if they had Ashwin in their attack on a 5th day Surrey wicket. But I think they'll get through. So that's happening out there. The challenge with England or India play with their squad. We talk about how Ashwin can't be in the 11, but they can't also play 2 spinners with the whole cast conditions at the moment. So it's a hard choice. They've rated Jadeja as the all-round and the overseas spinner, and it's good to see they seem to be backing him with it. So it's an interesting series. What are your thoughts? You see Chris Wokes in the 11?
Yeah. Oh, how good is it? Outswings, Bora.
Yeah.
you can watch him all day. And talk about Sare. I used to go and play a bit of cricket in England, so it's always been around London, and I used to go, and whenever they have a test match or a one day, they need people to come and bowl at the team. So I had friends there, and they organized me a pass. So, and you go there, and that's training for you as well, because in England you don't train much and you just play cricket in the weekend. So that was good training for me, bowling at the England side or South Africa or West Indies, who was traveling, and they will give you a pass where you can go into the ground even during the test match. You can go there and watch cricket for free, and you get paid a bit of cash as well. So that was a really good experience. And when I watch the game on TV and when I see the oval, I think, that I remember all those memories.
Brought back some memories of you.
And going back to Bangladesh, remember in the early 90s where Sri Lanka, playing at home, we managed to beat or draw series against best sides in the world. That's where we started our journey to be one of the top teams in the world. So Bangladesh at home, I think that's what they're doing. They make sure they play to their advantage. They use their pitches to their advantage, and it's a very hard place to travel at the moment.
I think they've got the setup. We've got Tamim Iqbal and Shakib Al Hassan. They've dominant batsmen who play spin really well. So they are not worried about setting up a pitch that's going to turn square, because they know they've got the confidence to play. They play very attacking cricket. So on the day that it comes off, they're able to set the tone. I think around the world, just to wrap things up, we got to talk about Isurudan, who's been doing out there well in the CPL. It's good to see him perform. So it is lovely to see. Left armer, he ticks the box for me in the game of cricket. So He's playing in a good setup there. I think Kyron Pollard's captaining his side, and Isuru's in the mix. I mean, he brings that variation. I've seen him follow up his five with another good performance.
Yeah. He seemed to be enjoying his cricket as well. You can see him on social media with his footy skills. He's a big fan of football. He's a big fan of Messi. And,
I think he's got the skills to back it up as well. He loves his football. Sometime back when you're in Sri Lanka, we always try to catch up for footy. And he goes around. And most of the time, what happens is, because he's so good at, he'll go in and out of players, he gets shrugged off to a corner by someone. But he loves his footy. He's a massive fan. It's good to see him. I mean, you need characters like that.
Yeah, Bora, going back to India, England series, this Jarvo, mate. Well, it was funny the first time. Come on, it's time to move on. Come on, mate. Just you're trying to milk it now. Come on, give it up, Jarvo. Come on.
Yeah. Jarvo walking into the ground by now. This English security should have a post up so you can keep an eye out for this guy. He's been, I think it's the third time he's done it. I don't know. If I was the ECB, I'll probably use it for a good thing. You can use it for entertainment. Sign him up, give him a chance to run to the pitch during the lunch break, do whatever he wants. It's good entertainment. But
come on,
don't let it don't let it affect. It's a shock. I mean, I'm with you, but if they can't stop him from running, use him,
Get Andrew Simons in there. Just give him a shoulder.
I think he's run a few pranks on other sporting events as well.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's what I've seen. Don't know how true it is, but in the current series, he seems to be now becoming a menace. I mean, it was good to see the first time, but when you see the security running in, he knocked into Bairstow. It could have been a lot worse. I mean,
I know
Bairstow's a stocky guy, but I mean, if it was someone else got hurt or injured by knocking into him, it would have been not a good sight.
So you want ECB to sign him up, Bora? Come on.
So lunchtime, no one's out there. Get him running, do whatever you want. He's padded up. His bowling's got a lot to improve. Maybe his batting, we'll see what he can do.
Okay.
Jarvo the man.
So,
all right, Vida, I think we talked about what's happening in the cricket circles. Let's get into the juicy topic of the day. We want to talk about what Sri Lanka cricket's got in plan for its domestic cricket structure.
Yeah, so we promised our listeners that we'll talk about the proposed new structure plans for Sri Lanka cricket. So I'll go through them briefly first. So their plan is to, at the moment they have 26 teams playing in the club cricket system. So their plan is to get that down to 15 teams by the end of the season of 2023. Okay. So they will relegate teams after every season till they get that number down to 15. So there will be ways they play there. So this club cricket system will be playing 3-day games and a 1-day tournament as well. And the finals will be a 4-day game. Yeah. But after the club tournament, they will have 5 provincial teams selected based on the performances and where you were born and which club you've been playing. So there'll be a criteria. They'll work out a criteria and they'll select players to each of those provinces, and they'll play a provincial tournament, which will be a home and away series. So which is good. Like we played a lot of provincial cricket, but it has always been like end of the season, you play a month of provincial cricket, that'll be like 4-day games and a final, right? So which is not enough. Like it's good standard cricket, but it wasn't good, not enough. So and
exactly right. I think what's that? Which 2004-5 is when I started entering into the domestic first class club tournament. But there's always been the provincial tournaments right or wrong. I mean, because when I started, this is 2005-6, around that time. A guy who benefited from the provincial setup was Angelo Matthews. He scored massive runs straight out of school.
Double 100. Even Dimut scored double 100.
Yeah. So, I mean, we saw people who we talk about, okay, he's a good, proven school performer. Come into the domestic provincial tournament, scoring massive runs and just bridge the gap into the national setup. So there's a lot of benefits in that. I think that's something the structure is pretty good. We want to be playing competitive cricket is what we talk, and the plan to get to that 15 team mark is like, I mean, at the moment, if we got 26 teams playing, there has to be a clear understanding what are the process is. 26 teams might say, okay, why suddenly am I playing in a second tier or not in the top elite tournament? I'm sure that's what the clubs would have asked. Okay, how can you ensure all 26 teams have a fair go by the end of 2023 or after a certain period? How can we make the cut? So that's probably what they would have discussed. And like you and I both know, as well as most of our listeners, the club do have a fair say in the system. I mean, there's a lot of legal proceedings happening if things don't go their way. So I think they would have had a discussion about what's needed. I mean, I guess the discussion would have come across the tournament committee or through the cricket advisory committee that we have. I mean, from a cricket point of view, that's the best set of heads that we have out there, if you want to name him. Plus, you have an overseas head coming in through Tom Moody, who's proven through a lot of domestic setups. I mean, he's been the director of cricket, even from a CPL point of view. He was the tournament director. In the IPL teams, he's had successful stints with with Sri Lanka as well as other teams.
That was what I was going to say. He had massive success with Sri Lanka. So
I think we need calm heads. I know we need results, short-term results as well, but we also need a structure to develop what we have. I mean, when you talk about in Sri Lanka, what's happening, we've got a quality school structure which flows in through the first class structure. How can we fine-tune the first class structure? That we all know the benefits of playing a provincial tournament. So that's what the structure is. I think provincials won't straight away replace the club structure, but it'll at least build up the competition that we need. I mean, it's never a question of talent identification for Sri Lanka. I mean, if it's a problem of talent identification, we wouldn't have the Lasith Malingas, Ajantha Mendis's, you name it. I mean, Mahesh Deekshana seems to be another talent identified. So it's the talent development side that I think is the problem area for us. And hopefully this structural change will benefit the players or the setup to develop that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Bora, I mean, we are lucky that we have a school system that they bring out all this talent into first class system. I mean, you and I, we both coach in Australia, and you don't see that many talented as we see in Sri Lanka, like when you are in the age of 8, 9, 10, when you look at them and see how they play, you can see how talented they are. But here, it's a bit different, isn't it? But once the difference is once they have got identified, and let's say when they turn 17, they fast track their progress, and it's a massive jump, and that's what we lack in Sri Lanka, because we produce all these good cricketers from the school system, but when they come to the club system and then they go on to play for Sri Lanka, there's a massive gap. So with this tournament, if they make sure that they play it for a longer period of time, I think that will help school cricketers who come out and go to the club system to be better players. So their plan is to cluster the clubs according to historical performances and in previous leagues and geographical placements and the infrastructure facilities available. So the top 5 clubs will be equipped with facilities, and they'll have the capacity to host the team and players. And
so Vida, in theory, the structure is very impressive. When we put it into practice, we might come across some challenges. I mean, we're talking about 5 teams spread across geographically. So would that potentially would mean we've got to move our resources. The resourcing would be the players, the back office personnel, from your coaches, physios, trainers, even groundsmen, to a geographic location to make that the base. That could potentially be even moving families, would result in a work-life change for a lot. The reporting lines will have to have more clarity on that. So there are certain challenges which will come into play once it's in motion. The Sri Lankan, I mean, geographically or not, a lot of the cricket is being played in Colombo. I mean, it's a strong Colombo-based competition, right? So it will be interesting how they break it in geographically. I understand if it's like, I mean, when you and I were playing, we did travel, we did represent a geographical location. So that meant playing for Kandurata meant, yes, we got the backing of Kandurata, but it didn't mean we trained and were located in the Kandurata province or were based there, and we started playing matches against the different provinces. I think that work at a school level, because I believe there was more the provincial tournaments that were held at different age groups. But coming into the first class setup, there might be certain challenges there'll be more thinking, or there probably has. We'll just need more details of what's happening there.
Yeah, so the plan is to have this unchanged for 3 years. So I think that's the key for us. So you can't have all these plans and you play 1 year and you can't go back to square one. So you have to make sure you have to commit to this for a longer term option. So as you said, like when we played for Kadurata, we had maybe like 3, maybe 4, over the years, like 7, 8 players, but we had Murali, Sangha, and we had Sajitaya for a couple of years, and Kapu from Kandy, Kapu and Kaushal Veerratna. So other than that, I mean, I'm from down south and you're from Colombo, and it's you don't have that loyalty to that province. To have
Yes.
that, you have to make sure that you play it for a longer time. Then only the players from that province, they'll look up to the players who play for that province, and they'll want to be there. So they, they'll have a target. Okay, I want to play for my school. I want to play for my province. Then I'll play for my country. That should be the way to go forward. If they can stick to this for 10 years, we will be very, very, we'll be in a very good position in world cricket.
We talk about having so many teams and the competitions we want to be. The good thing is we're lucky we get to play cricket a lot, right? We get a lot of matches to play now. It's okay. By introducing this provincial law, that 5-team category, we just want to mix and match the country's top performers against each other. So I mean, if you are playing the top run scorers against the team or squad which has 5 or 4 bowlers, where you've got to work out a plan, and you're going to come across a good 5 bowling attack. How can you survive that? That's more the competition that everyone we hear is talking about. We don't want a lot of teams. We want it reduced so that the teams have got equally strong 11 competing against each other. So they'll be able to, okay, how's this guy against really fast bowling, spin bowling, and see, okay, if he scores runs against that team, okay, seems to be ticking the box in terms of being international match ready. End of the day, that's what we want, isn't it? I mean, you and I, when we were playing at NCC, I mean, Upul Taranga was the captain when we became champions. We had a good 5 bowler attack. That was a reason, that we could bank on. We got Dushmanta Chamira was out and out. Maha was the all-round fast bowler. You and I was the fast bowler spin, and then Taridu Kaushal was, I mean, he was just going through at that stage,
You open the bowling with your left hand thing as well sometimes.
Yeah. I think I was the start of when left armers started opening spin bowling in Sri Lanka. I was part of that generation. This happened, and then we saw the benefits of being of a spinner opening the new attack in Sri Lanka. That led to, I mean, in international cricket as well, Sri Lanka started the benefits of having a spin bowler opening the attack. Rangana Herath, he just ran through attacks because the second innings he would almost certain he would be opening the bowling. I'm pretty sure if you take his stats, his Sri Lanka's second innings bowling, Rangan Herath would have opened.
He bowled the first over.
Yeah.
He bowled the first over, second innings. Yeah.
Yeah, because the main thing is the shift into DRS, I think, with the natural variation of the ball skidding on, it just created a natural, attacking plan for the team to come up with, So, but coming back into that squads, we want to make it, the whole idea is to make sure the top players in the competition are playing against each other, so they know their weaknesses. Sometimes, I mean, you hear there's a guy who's weak against a short ball, but he doesn't get found out because the opposition team might not have a fast bowler who's quick enough, or it might be one fast bowler who's quick enough and the batsman smart enough to move away from him. But once you filter it into a strong 5-team tournament, it's going to be hard to hide from a fast bowler because he'll be getting two or three quicks who'll know, who'll come up with a plan. He's weak against a short ball. Let's test him out. As a best example is the T20 tournament just concluded. That's a four-member team. I mean, we saw some more players missed out, but it wasn't a bad thing because that meant the competition was high. So I know it's unfortunate that not everyone could make it, but it's a reason why it's a 4-member team. Now, going forward, next year, if this tournament's on, the rest of the players who didn't make it know, I've got to hit these numbers to get into that squad and make a mark. a positive coming out. Dinesh Chandimal found a way to get back into the 11 now that he's
Oh,
shown,
yes.
he's
Yeah.
shown his results. So he's earned his spot to come back in. And then the youngsters who've come out there. I mean, we've got a strong group.
Yeah. Going back to provincial cricket, Bora. I mean, you mentioned about the logistical challenges and the. I remember when we were playing provincial cricket, we'll play in Kandy or in Kurunagala or in Dabulla, right? But both you had to take both teams from Colombo, the support staff, sometimes the catering staff as well. So these are the things, these are the challenges as you mentioned. These are the challenges they will face. They'll have to find solutions for those things for this tournament to happen every year. And the other thing is maybe, as you mentioned about the T20 tournament, some of these boys, they haven't played under lights, or they haven't played in front of a TV camera. So I mean, if they can televise this tournament, and that'll be another way to lift the morale of the boys a bit more, because everyone wants to do well when you're on TV. So it's just little things, but that they make a massive difference.
Yeah, I think I'll touch base about the TV. I think that's a very good factor. This generation of players have come up with social media. I mean, so there is a lot of avenues as well. I think they are fairly confident because they've seen themselves. I mean, you and I, when we played cricket back home, we started off reading through the papers to check your scores, right? Then Cricinfo came through, then the scores started filtering, live scoring happened.
I still have my paper cuts.
Yeah, then the generation after that came through with a lot of the social media sites coming through. I mean, we'll give credit to them, a small plug to the platforms out there. You got the papare.com, batsman.com, ESPN Cricinfo. That's pretty much, I mean, as a cricketer back in time, when you get up in the morning, you just log on to Cricinfo, see what's the news article. That was my lifestyle back home as a cricketer. So, but then the platforms I mentioned, they've come through. They've invested a lot. I mean, you see a lot of photography involved. You see now videos or match coverage coming through. Back in our time, I think it was a selected tournament where you might have Channel I or CSN, I think was another TV network. It was there at the time.
It has to be a national broadcaster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't a live stream or anything. So.
No. So, but I think the papre.com covered the T20 tournament. So I'm sure they'll invest and cover the domestic first class tournament as well by giving more live tournaments. So hats off to that. The proposed changes with it's good. I mean, it's meant to be heading in the right way. I think it'll lie upon how consistent or the administration setup is in Sri Lanka. I mean, from a board point of view, will we see any changes in the next 5 years? From a governing point of view, will there be any changes in the next 5 years? That will play a massive part in this being rolled out. If not, like you and I said, we played in a provincial tournament. Before us, there were, I mean, the generation of players who played in similar tournaments, but it all had stop-start scenarios. Otherwise, today we'll be discussing more the domestic provincial tournament than the club tournament. But unfortunately, at each stage, it has stopped. It's always being cricket. Evolving around the club setup.
Yeah. So we always go back to that.
Yeah, that's our base end of the day, isn't it? But the club setup is still good. I mean, NCC, is a club, but as a club, we've got the facilities to cover that. I mean, I had this discussion with one of my mates as well, and we talked about, I mean, you and I, we've been more together at CCC, then NCC, both clubs on its own. I mean, good facilities, nets, turf, wickets to train on Monday to Friday, a pool to recover and do your training, a gym setup, and on at the same location at the ground itself. So a standalone full facility which provides all the services, you know, indoor facilities if it's wet, pool and gym to tone yourself, get yourself fit, and you know, the ground on its own to train as a cricketer. So they've got all the facilities there in a club environment. That's you don't get that in very much other areas.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I don't have anything to add to that, because if you have all that, Bora, you can settle into routine, right? And it does. I mean, not only in the season, even even off season. If you have a setup like that, you know, that's where you train. That's your second home. I mean, you know, how many times we meet up at NCC gym? I mean, I don't even know if you are coming, but you know, I'll meet you there, or I meet you at the pool. You know, it's because we get used to a routine.
Yeah.
Because we are comfortable in that system. I think that's where we have to aim this provincial system to go.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the main cricket playing countries have. Like, I mean, you can't replicate what Australia or England or India has, but if we can try and create something which will be there for a longer period of time, and players will get into a routine to train and do their things in a center. So I think we'll see where we'll go. Like, they say they're gonna stick to this for 3 years. I think that's the short-term plan, and so we'll see where we're gonna end up. I think we are coming to the end of this episode 2. I want to thank all the feedback we received on our social media platforms, and I had a couple of emails as well. So, I mean, a lot of suggestions, feedback, and questions as well. So we'll make sure we'll do a Q&A episode soon. We just want to cover few things in these first few episodes, then we'll do a full Q&A episode.
Yeah. Now, excited. I mean, we've been taking a few, I mean, we're learning the graphical side of things as well. We've taken a few snapshots of ourselves. I mean, we do for the post, and I was impressed. I saw Vida holding a bat. It's one of the few times that Vida looks good with a bat in his hand. So that's what I told you.
Hey, come on, be nice. Everyone knows I can hit big sixes, bro. Come on, be nice. I'm a batsman when I'm traveling. So in Australia, in England.
You need to get a few of the NCC boys to talk about your batting heroics here. But we've been.
You should see my stats in England, mate. You understand? So.
Yeah, we've heard the England stories a fair bit. I think you foxed once Upul Taranga, the captain. You foxed him by getting you to bat up the order with one of your England knocks, and I think that was the last time he did it. So,
be nice, Bora. Come on.
Yeah, but thanks a lot for everyone listening in. I mean, it's been a good time to share our views about the game. I think heading into next week's episode, we'll hope to cover another interesting area in the game of cricket. I mean, feel free to share your thoughts so that we know, okay, this is an area or topic we can cover. We're wishing the Sri Lankan boys the best. Hopefully we finish on top of the series when by the time we record the next podcast, something that we can talk about. But I think it's we're building up to the right stage. I mean, the next setup coming up is the T20 World Cup. Hopefully we'll have a strong squad fighting. I mean, hopefully we'll get a strong squad of players too, so that we can put a good competitive team out there. I think Vida, I've told you as well. I mean, I know we are coming through the qualifying ranks, but if we make it through that, we're setting up on the side of a group that's seems to be a lot more. I mean, you like to be in that group, especially being a subcontinent team. So let's see how that works out in the next lead up to the World Cup.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think playing those qualifiers might be like a blessing in disguise for us, because you'll get used to those pitches, and you'll have couple of more practice games than the others. So funny things happen in cricket, and you get into the correct group. After that, it's all up for grabs.
Thank you for joining us with the Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode as well. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe to this podcast. We are available on the leading platforms of Apple, Google, and Spotify. Once you subscribe, you'll have more access for the latest episodes that are being released. And we'll give you more opportunities to listen to that.
Yeah. And Bora and I are both active on Twitter, and you can follow me at Chucky_Vida and follow Bora on Twitter at BoraS85. And if you like to send us feedback, suggest a guest, or ask a question, connect us via Twitter, and we will feature that in the upcoming episodes as well. And we will have all these links in our show notes. And we really appreciate if you can leave us a quick review on Apple Podcasts with a generous 5 stars. That will help other cricket-loving listeners like you to find this podcast.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next week with the next episode.
See you soon.